Hello and welcome to the first episode of Leaky Faucet Video Game Hunts and More, where I take you wherever I may go on my never-ending journey to find awesome games and any other cool stuff I come across for bargain bin prices. Let's open the first episode with a trip to Goodwill. When I got through the door, I went straight for the game section, and the absolute state of it. DS and Wii junk, sports, Guitar Hero, movie tie-ins, and edutainment. The generic case contained a copy of Test Drive 5, and hilariously, all of the DS cases were empty. Just over to the left of this sad stack of games, we have every Twilight novel, a staple in the Goodwill book section. Now, on a more serious note, if you're into reading at all, Goodwill is a fantastic place for you. They get books in all the time, they're always cheap, you can find classics and best-selling authors. I've found a lot of great stuff at this particular store. Over in the electronics section, we have an old stereo amp and an all-in-one system. The amp would probably be a good pickup for those into vintage audio, but I don't need it. Also a blender and a $5 DVD player? Isn't that kind of pricey considering it's 2020? They're usually like $2 or $3 at this Goodwill. Hey kids, just over to the left of the toy section, we have a premium edition beer kit, home brewing made easy. If you're searching for video games, you should never neglect the toy section. I once found a rare, red Target Edition Game Boy Advance on these very shelves to the right. And today I found this LEGO Technic set, marked for a measly $3 that appears to be at least mostly complete. You gotta be careful with used LEGO sets and board games, because they're often missing pieces. Nothing else of interest on the toy shelves today, though. No Game Boy or controllers or anything. Oh, but what is that? I spy with my little eye a little stuffed Shy Guy. For only $1, I picked him up too. And that wraps up today's Goodwill run. The store was very well stocked today. Sometimes at this store there's a lot of empty shelves, but not today. Time for another fantastic day, or at least that's what this framed photo of SpongeBob claims. The game shelf looked the same as it did yesterday, except that it had some PS2 wrestling title thrown in. But what's this hiding underneath an old keyboard? Is that an OG Xbox? It is! It was incredibly dirty, did not include the power supply, and the Mad Catz controller it was bundled with was busted, but for only $8, I picked it up anyway. It deserves to be restored and given a second life, not waste away. It needed some serious cleaning. When I took it home, I noticed there was a dead bug inside the fan. Unfortunately, my Xbox and cables are currently at a different residence, so I'm unable to test this one for the moment, and unable to see what, if any, game is inside the tray. I'll definitely update you in a future video, though. Top Dad! Oh yeah! Wow, that is a lot of adult diapers. And a lot of other junk. Hey, Rock and Roll Over, that's a good record. It's always worth it to comb through the music CDs. I have found many original PlayStation games mixed in here, since they were sold in the same type of cases. That is one disgusting fish tank. I bet fish have died in there. I wonder if it's haunted. Is that a snowboard? You don't see that every day. And what is this thing? Can someone help me here? That just about does it for another day at Goodwill. Let's take our Xbox, get out, and come back tomorrow. I'm gonna use my powers for good today at Goodwill. Let's see if we can find anything interesting. The game shelf once again remained the same. Sad, sad stuff. The only LPs were a couple of Disney records and the Star Wars score performed by the Electric Moog Orchestra. Interesting. So, in a way, 3 Disney records. That is a lot of Blu-ray movies. It's not common to find Blu-ray at this Goodwill. Too bad it's nothing I care about. Hey look, The Complete Chronicles of Narnia. I loved those books as a kid. Now, in general, when giving advice about thrift store shopping, I tell people that regardless of what you're looking for, look everywhere for it. The only section in Goodwill that I have never found a video game is in the VHS section, but I still look there anyway. I've heard stories of people finding boxed Sega Genesis games or even boxed NES, Super Nintendo, or Nintendo 64 games. I can't imagine ever getting that lucky, but still, I leave no stone unturned. They must have gotten a big book donation really recently because it's hard to even sift through all of this now while trying to film. But let's make an effort to look through the most disorganized shelf of all time and see if we can find anything cool. Lego Star Wars Visual Dictionary? That is cool, but I don't need it. And it was missing the Luke Skywalker minifigure it originally came with. And a novelization of the first Ninja Turtles movie? Yes, that's right, a novel based on a movie based on a comic book. Don't need it either, but still, pretty cool. Now, you guys are not going to believe this, but I decided to take a trip back later in the day and was blessed with PS1 goodness in the VHS section. I swear on all that is holy that I wrote the part of the script saying that I had never had any luck here before I found these. All complete in box, all discs in good shape. Not as good as boxed cartridges, but still, score. I picked up Siphon Filter 2, The Grinch, and of course, Gex. The others didn't interest me much, at least not for $3.49 plus tax. I would have picked them all up if games at this Goodwill were priced cheaper. Also, they had reorganized the book section, so it was a lot easier to look through. And there was this audio mixer thing with a record scratch function. I would have picked it up as well, but I didn't recognize the input. That's going to wrap it up for this first episode, so let's take a look at what I got, how much I paid, including tax, and what I saved. The average eBay price is calculated using the 5 most recently sold eBay listings at the time of my purchase, including shipping. If you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing, leaving a thumbs up, sharing, and ringing the bell so you don't miss any future videos. Thank you so much for watching, and remember, if there is a thrift store near you, there are treasures waiting to be found.